This week's episode of 86 is best described as mind-blowing. I mean, it's understandable now why every handler that has worked with this group of characters have ended up insane. I thought it was going to be something like maybe it was an emotional thing where because they have to deal with people who are so rash and they go guns a-blazing that maybe they couldn't handle it, or maybe it was just there was an emotional pushback. I mean, we saw how hard someone like Lena was getting pushed back from, and she was doing her best even if she did make mistakes to gain their trust. But to see that someone like The Undertaker has the ability that seemingly can never be turned off, always hearing the voices of the Legion or the ghosts, and to see how far the web goes in terms of mysteries, that's messed up. It's understandable why this is a man who constantly is doing something. He's always reading, he's always keeping his mind busy, because if you can't turn that off, you would go insane. And seemingly the only reason he hasn't gone insane is because of his mission and the desire to complete it. To get the kind of like cold-hearted truth that, the Republic's going to lose. That by their point of view, in 2 years, the Legion will shut down. That there is a timer that it will run out and essentially it's game over, right? But the thing is when you have a character like Hsieh who has the ability to hear and can actually basically have the shepherds. He knows of these shepherds, functioning human brain that can command the black sheep, these, more complex legion who may have damaged human parts, but at the same time are still far more superior than your average legion. While from a distance it looks like their numbers are getting smaller, in reality their numbers are getting larger, and as soon as the 86 are gone, there will be no more defenses to protect the Alba. And are the Alba going to fight themselves even if they could? How are they going to deal with it when they've created a situation where they don't get their hands dirty? They're inexperienced. They could have 1,000,000 times more numbers than the Legion, but with the commanders like that, they're screwed. While I don't think it will work out, I do like the idea of not only Lena catching herself saying, I'm right there with you, she corrects herself and says, I'm going to do my best to support you, because she's not on the battlefield. She's not putting her life on the line, but she recognizes that she does have intel and things that can aid them. In this episode, I mean, it's said as such. Even though you shouldn't devote your entire free time to us, you are a valuable asset to the group. We can't deny that. And to honestly see just the reason why most likely he's always been touching and taking a piece of their unit back, because the girl who died a couple episodes back is still out there. They took her and repurposed her, and even though it's not her soul, it's almost like a haunting voice, and the fact that everyone has to deal with it on the battlefield because they're all connected to each other. Holy shit, this got twisted, and I absolutely adored how they handled her kind of going insane when it occurred. It's understandable from both sides. You have someone who understands that any handler who deals with that many black sheep will go insane and quit. But it's also, you can't deny that anyone who didn't know about this would be like, okay, they have a good connection. As dangerous as it is, she wants to support them and she has valuable information. No one in their wildest dreams would have assumed something like that would happen unless you read the source material. And if you read the source material, you're not part of this situation, right? So to have that occur and to see how, rather than going your typical, oh, it's this dark red, it's this kind of haunting aura, they literally flip the perspective upside down to make it seem even more disorienting. There was such an attention to detail in this episode, even more so than a lot of them I found. I mean, I love how, once again, rather than just showing the battles from one side, they show it from both. We first see it from a computer screen, watching blips occur, and then you get to actually see what was occurring that entire time, and as a character is saying, cut off the switch, he's sounding pretty calm, all things considered. I'm like, wow, maybe, his battle hasn't really been that explosive, that's why he was able to do that. But when you actually see it from The Undertaker's point of view, during that entire conversation, while hearing all those voices, while talking with her and simultaneously fighting for his life, he was that cool, calm, and collected. Absolutely mind-blowing. But I do appreciate how, when they're talking, how, once someone hears those voices, they never call back. She did. She was just rather shook up for understandable reasons. And it was kind of sweet to see that many of them were actually a bit lonely because they hadn't had her call yet, and they've grown used to it. The way they're building the cast, while death flags are literally on every single character's head, hell, they put a death flag on the entire Republic's side this episode. It still makes you connected to what's occurring on screen, and that's what makes it so fascinating. After the credits, we see our boy, who was clearly strangled as a kid by seemingly his brother by the looks of it, to just see what kind of emotional scarring that must have done, and to see the intro of the episode. I mean, I was ready to call this an amazing episode from the first 5 minutes before the opening played, because to get to see Shin's brother and how he saved a young girl after, the father was saying, I want to show you this. Someone with a noble vision almost always gets killed in series like these. And to see how he was just trying to help her and how he felt like, even though things are clearly different for two different sides of the equation, people like him anyway, want to fight for what's theirs. And the fact that Shin and his brother seemingly grew up inside those walls at one point, that's very fascinating to me. It's really, really interesting given the fact that, literally they're all Albas, right? The white-haired, everything like that. They're this perfect race that they want to say, even though they use everything that's artificial. And sometimes if you're lucky, you get real strawberries in your cake. There's just something sinister happening here, and I was firmly believing that, the Legion, there was something more to them, but I thought it was real humans just with better gear. This is even better. This is even more of an insane twist that not only clears up why this was such a dangerous unit to be a handler for, but it answers so many uncertainties, like a character knowing things before even the handler. Like when he said that they're coming and she hadn't received a report, I was like, oh, maybe they just simply don't care and they get delayed intel because they're the 86, who cares? But no, it's because he's that ahead of the game, and that's incredible, but it still shows that even though he can get the jump on these people before they jump him, the intel that she has is still very, very useful. It's just, it's a much different situation than she ever signed up for. 86 is blowing me away. We're only 5 episodes into this first core, and I'm not only excited for the remaining episodes here, but the second core and where that's going to go in fall, because this series is seriously one of the best well-written military stories that I think I've personally experienced. All the tropes you think are being set up just immediately get squished down and become something so great. I mean, as much as I would have been perfectly content and thought they were going just normal humanoid Legion or even just standard AI, the whole shepherd and black sheep equation just shakes up everything for me in the best possible way. I do fear for Lena. I think it's going to take its toll, but I guess we'll see, right? I mean, death flags for literally everyone but the Legion, and even when the Legion get death flags, it seems like their numbers are too great, but I guess we'll see. I don't know how they'll be able to deal with it, but I think definitely if they want to win, this information needs to be exposed to the higher up so that they can prepare better, but they're never going to believe this girl. She's already seen as crazy or, someone who's tampering with the peace that they have, so I guess we'll see where it goes from here. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on this week's episode. A lot of new information. What was the most shocking element for you? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you're happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.